Yeah. So, a very good morning, guys. So, let's see that how we are going to use this file. And before that, before we start, let me share one more thing. At the end of this session, we are going to do a quick Q&A. So you can just have a look at the question box at your screen that you can put your question. So let's start. Okay. So here we go. We first, I just want to discuss with you, and one more thing. I'm sorry, guys, but today I'm doing this webinar from my home. So maybe you have to be with me because you have to, bear those noises. Maybe a mixer grinder or some people are blowing horns and all those things. So please be with me. And thanks for joining on this beautiful weather. And today we are going to discuss that how we can do a much better analysis using pivot table. Hope I know that a few of you, a lot of you rather know all you already know that how to use pivot table. But one thing which I came to a conclusion, which I think that pivot table somehow, why we use pivot table, because in our earlier webinars we have already discussed about sum if, count ifs, like those things, those very beautiful functions. Now in this case, if you just look at the data, let's look at the data, and there we're gonna talk about this kind of analysis. So this data at the data sheet, this data is basically um, I'm sorry, I think you are not able to see the screen. Just a second. Yeah, yeah, probably now you can see it. Okay, so you have this data tab in which you have this whole data. Just look at the data first. This is basically a bank's data in which you have date, amount, account type, open by, branch, and customer. So for example, if I going to read this data, the first transaction says on the 1st of September, a deposit of 5,000 has been done in IRA account type, which was opened by a new accountant, and the branch is central, and the customer is existing. So this is how we read it. Now, if you have a look, this whole complete data is basically of September month's data, only September month. If I go at the bottom with my arrow key, with a keyboard option, so it is going to be control down arrow, so it will hit at till the end, which is September 29th. So it is only a September's data. So what I want you to analyze on this data is, for example, if you are working as a regional manager and you have three branches comes under you, which is central, north county, and west side, and you're handling all these operations of these branches. And as maybe as a colleague, if I want to ask you few questions, so that for example, if I ask you that how much deposit we have received in each branch, that's a very logical question, a simple question. How much deposit, how much amount we have received in each branch. Now if you just analyze this thing, how you gonna do it? I mean, if you talk about, if you'll not talk about pivot table, how you'll do it? Probably maybe few of you are thinking about sorting or filtering, through which we can do it. That's, guys, that's not a good option straight away. You, what you can do is that you can use yeah, some of you also thinking about sum if. That is basically a very good option if you talk about sum if. Now if I use that sum if formula, if I use that sum if formula to find out the total amount of, let's say, central branch, north county, west side, it will give me the answer, no problem. But the point is that it will take some time. One thing. Second thing, there would be a chances of mistake also. And the third thing, that I have to create a table out of it. For example, if I start a formula over here that you already know, which is sum if. So if I write, let's say sum if, now range criteria, some range. So I'll take maybe this is going to be the range, this is going to be the criteria, because for the central, for example, range is this, comma, we are talking about the criteria which is central, comma, and we want the sum of amount, which is our sum range, like this. If I do it, it will give me the sum, no problem at all. But the problem is that I need to calculate it for North County and West Side separately, and right now we do have only 3 branches. It could be 10, 15, 20, 50, larger number of branches, or any item or element, which is pretty much more. So that is why we are not going into these formulas, because I've already told you there would be a chance of mistake in this one thing. I have to put a lot of time into it. Maybe you can say it will take at least around 5 minutes to calculate it. And then I have to convert it into a table to represent it to someone who is asking me this. Okay. So that is why here, if you talk about here, the role of pivot table comes in. Pivot table is a tool which is not magical. I'm saying there's nothing. If you just give it a minute, if you think about it for a minute, I can assure you that if I ask you one very simple thing, can you do anything which can only be done through pivot table? Can you find anything in your mind right now? You cannot. There is nothing special in pivot table. There is nothing special. You cannot do, I mean, if you talk about, we can customize it, we can format it, visualization and all that can be done anything using other function in Excel, pretty much in an easy way. But the point is that a pivot table is one of the fastest way to do it. You can do anything without touching even pivot table, and you can do anything you want, grouping, ungrouping, and all those things, calculation, everything you normally do, you can do it. But it takes a bit of time, and also we need to spend time on the formatting of that. And pivot table is an option that provides us result in a very fast manner without doing any kind of calculation as well as formatting also. So that is the beauty of pivot table. Okay, so I hope that is understand. So now what we'll do, if you just look at the data, we are going to create few pivot tables out of it. Okay, now to create it, I have created a tab which is questions. Now we'll solve these questions and create 5 different pivot tables using this data. So it's very simple. Now if I say, it's a very basic question. If I say, before going to the question, let's create a normal dummy data table, you can say a pivot table. The way of doing it, if you are if that file is open at your system, how we can do it is, you just put your cursor within the database anywhere and go to the insert tab. When you go to the insert tab, you have this pivot table option with you. There is a drop down also. If you have 2007, 10, 13, no problem, the option is at the same position, so there is no difference. Now you have pivot table and pivot chart. We are talking about the pivot table, and if you click at the very top this option, it will automatically create a pivot table, not pivot chart. So I'll click on it. It will select the whole database, and then you can read it over here, select a table or a range, which is table 13. Basically, this table's name, behind this table's name is table 13, so that is why it is showing me table 13. If there is no name of the data, it will show just a range, nothing else. And then choose where you want to place the pivot table report, which is a new worksheet or existing worksheet. You can place it anywhere in this worksheet also. In that case, I have to go with existing worksheet and I have to assign the location somewhere else. I can put it into new worksheet. Now if I go with new worksheet, I'll press OK. Now here we go, we do have this pivot table fields. Now this is the most important part that we need to understand over here. Otherwise you will create anything in future very easily if you will understand it carefully. Now, before we go further, a lot of people, I know that I hope that a lot of people already been using pivot table, and a lot of people have seen that maybe they have used pivot table from Excel 2003. So in that, the view was pretty much different. So just to clarify that thing, it was when pivot table is already inserted, you can see pivot table tools, and under which we do have options and design. Under the options tab at the left hand corner, we do have these options. When I click on this option, this pop-up box will appear, and in which I do have an option called display. When I click on display, it will show me an option which is classic pivot table layout. When I click on it and I will press OK, so this was a classic pivot table view. Okay, so you can use this or the earlier one. Let me undo it because this is the current layout of it, so people are using it widely, so we'll use it. And you can use that also, there is no issues, there is no rather a difference. You can just drag and drop the field in the sheets, and here you cannot do that. That is the only difference. But we are going to focus on this part of this pivot table, which is field list. Now if you just think about a normal table, because pivot table is also a table. So if you talk about a normal table, a table has two things, columns and rows, isn't it? So if you just look over here, these drag and drop fields, you have these column labels and row labels, which is pretty much fine. You can correlate it. And in between a particular table, you put values. So the third box is for values. So these three are very simple to understand. Columns, rows, and values to create a table. That's it. Now, report filter, I'll explain you that. So no need to worry about it. And guys, this is very, very simple option. Very simple. Pivot table is very simple function. So let's talk about one question, which is how much deposit we have received in each branch. Whenever you want to solve any question, any situation using pivot table, always think about the fields which you require to solve that question. Okay, now you can see these fields are basically the headings of that table, that data. This one, you can see these are the headings, and these are the fields over here automatically. Okay, now how much deposit we have received in each branch. So for that, what are the fields we require? How much deposit, which is going to be the amount, how much deposit, which is going to be the amount received in each branch. So each branch. So we need two fields over here, which is branch as well as amount. So what I'll do, I'll pick up branch, I'll pick it up, clicking on it and dragging it. Okay, here this I can put it either in column label or row label. Both will work. Both will work. Some of you may also be thinking right now that we can also click on it, this checkbox. If I click it, no problem, I can do it also. If I click it, what will happen? It will just drag it over here, or here I do not have any control over that. For example, if I would require this branch in column label, and if I click it, it will put it in row. It is putting it in row label. So I have to drag it in any way to the column label if I want it. So I do not have any control. So I personally prefer that I just drag it and put it wherever I want. Could be anywhere. Okay. So let's say, for example, if I put it in column label, it will look like this. You can see Central, North County, and West Side. So all the unique values, you can say, will be here. Any value which is any string or any value is coming in that branch, at least even once it will show over here. And then I'll put amount and drag it into values. So when I do it, you can see over Excel that this data is coming as a sum. So that's it. This is the total amount which we have received under central branch, and this is the amount which we have received under N county and accordingly under west side. So it's very simple, guys. I personally don't like this layout. So what I can do is I can just drag it and drop it in row label. So it will looking pretty much good as compared to the earlier layout. Layout is not a problem. The point is that you'll also get the correct answer in pivot table. So it's just about the layout that however, I mean, in what way you want to look at it, in what way you want to present it to someone. So it's all about that. Answer you'll get always perfect in it. Okay, so this is very simple. Just drag and drop. This is all about pivot table. Now there are few things that which I'll going to discuss, which are, for example, I'll expand it a bit, which is how much amount we have received in each branch under each account type. So I'm increasing it, the conditions. So under the central branch, I do have again few account types. So under a particular branch, under each account type, how much deposit I have received. So in that case, what I'll do, I need account type. So I'll pick it up and I can either drag it in row label like this. So there we go. We have the breakup, or the better part it is that I can drag it and put it over here also. It will look like this. That's it. Otherwise, we have, if we would not be using pivot table, we had to use some ifs, IFS. So in that case, we would have two conditions, which is central and CD. Some ifs. In that case, it would have given us the answer, but it will take a bit of time in that case. So it's better to use pivot table. So just dragging and dropping, guys. It's very simple. And then, for example, if I ask you that we are getting this table, perfectly fine. I don't have any issue with that. But if somebody asks you very simple thing that okay, that you are giving me this particular figure, which is that we have received 1359385 total this amount deposit under the CD account type in central branch. That is perfectly fine. But I want the breakup of this amount. Breakup. It should be broken down in different transactions. So otherwise, what we have to do, we have to filter the list with central CD, and then we have to put it somewhere else, and then we can present it. Else, what we can do in the pivot table, it's very simple, guys. We just need to double click on this amount for which we want the breakup of. So when I double click on this, I'm doing it right now. See this. So there we go. It has created a new worksheet, and you can see this is basically all the central branches and all the CD account types. And this is the amount. And if I just have a look, see this, the total is same. So that is the beauty of pivot table. It will do everything by itself. You not need not to do anything. No calculation, nothing. Okay, now this data is showing me sum by default. And if I would like to know the count of the transaction, for example, how many transaction has been done in the central branch under CD account type and further. So in that case, I need to just right click on any of the values, and I'll go to summarize values by. In 2007, it will show you summarize data by also. So one and the same thing, summarize values by or summarize data by. I'll choose count. I can choose count, average, max, min, product, whatever. Right now I'll go with count. So there we go. We do have count of each transaction. So there are in total 97 deposits are there under central branch under CD account type. Now, for example, this is one thing. And then if I ask you also very simple question, then this data is for new as well as existing customers, both the people. Now, what if I just want to look at it only for the new customers? So in that case, I have to go with a customer field. So I'll pick it up and drag it into a row label because I want to choose one of them. Getting my point? If you talk about customer, we need to go with only new. So in any field, if you want to filter it down, we have to go with this report filter. So when I put it over here, you'll just see at the very top on cell A1, there is something which is customer and it is written as all. So here, what we'll do, we'll just click on this drop down and we'll choose new and I'll press OK. So now we have data for only for the new customers, and deposits are under central branch under CD account type like this. Okay, so this is the overview. Whatever you want to add in, you can add it. A lot of things are there that you can use in pivot table. So let's see. Now I'll show you a few more things in pivot table. This is how we create it. So first question, yeah, in very first question, I want to show you one thing. It's a simple question, although, but one more important thing, new function in this, which is um, what is the daily total new deposit amount for each branch? So I'll go to the data tab. I'm going to create a new pivot table. So I'll click inside it. I'll go to insert and click on this pivot table and I'll press OK. And sorry, I forgot the question. What is the daily total new deposit amount for each branch? So daily total new deposit. So daily means we need a date. So I'll put the date in row label, daily total new deposit amount for each branch. Each branch, so I'll put the branch in column label and a new deposit. New deposit, we are taking it as a new customer. Okay, so in that case I want it only for the new customer. So again the same thing, I'll pick up the customer and put it into report filter. So now deposit, so definitely we are going to choose amount and pick it and drop it into values. So these are the new deposits, not new right now. I need to just choose new in this case and I'll press OK. So these are the new deposits in each branch. Okay, this is simple, but two things I just want to show you. One thing is that you can see I do have few blanks in this report. Okay, now if I send a particular report to someone else, I should not show blank in the data. It actually confuse the person who analyzed the data. So in that case, I have to fill in with something, and I do have a ready-made option in pivot table itself. If I go with this options, again the same box which we have discussed earlier, you can see one option under layout and format tab which says for empty cells show, it is nothing, so I can put anything. I can put NA, I can put 0, anything. So right now I am just going to put 0, and when I press OK, you can just notice one thing, that all the blank cells will be filled with zeros. Okay, so this is what we can use. Second very important thing which I want to discuss with you is the grouping part, which is one of the most beautiful function in pivot table itself. What is that? You can see the dates are written over here, September 1 to September 29th, as we have seen earlier, 29th. Okay, so okay, one more thing I just want to tell you, that when I go outside this pivot table, this list goes away. Okay, when I come inside it, then only I can see the list. So just remember this thing if you never use pivot table. So it's a bit confusing uh, in the beginning. So you have to click inside the pivot table, then only you can see the list, else if you go outside it, you will not able to see it. So when I click on it, then I can see it, and somehow if you close it by mistake, in that case you have to go to the options tab, and under the options tab at the very right side you have this field list. When I click on it, it'll be there. Okay, so accidentally if you close it, you can just click on this field list, that will be there. Okay, great. So yeah, I was talking about the grouping part. Right now we do have a data for a month only. Let me check just a minute. If I, no, somehow Okay, months are there. I'm looking at the data if I do have any uh, good data for the grouping part. For example, if I use this, let me use this data. Uh, let's go with that. Sorry. So I do have these September 1 to 29th. And if I want to group it, grouping is what? These are, if I ask you to show me the data weekly, a weekly data, weekly grouping, weekly or quarterly, monthly, bi-weekly, whatever number you assign. Okay, that we can do in pivot table very easily. How we can do it? For example, you just need to click on any of the dates and right click on it, I mean, and then click on group. When you click on group, it will show you a box which is grouping. In the grouping, it is automatically take the very first date in that range and the last date in that range. You need not to put in, it will already take it. It will already will take it. And then grouping by what? If you're working with the time, then second, minutes or hours you can do. Else you can do with days, months, quarters and years. Okay. Now, if you just look at it, we do not have weeks over here, which I was talking about. We do not have weeks. So in that case, and you can choose multiple option also. If I click on quarter also, it will show me the grouping of both these two. So under the quarter, we do have 3 months. Under the quarter again, we do have 3 months like that. Okay. So I need to click it once again to uncheck it, which I'm doing it. And now I was talking about weekly, which is not here. So in that case, I need to click on days, and while I click on it, you can see that number of days gets highlighted. Here you can assign it. For example, I can increase it to 7. If you talk about 15 days of span, then I can choose it to 15, which is also not here. And when I press OK, just have a look. There we go. We have these weekly groupings. So this is the weekly total of that data. Very beautiful option. Very beautiful option that you can use. And you can do grouping on lot of things. For example, I'm actually explaining, okay, let me solve another question, and there I can show you few more things regarding that instead of doing everything on single question. Let's see. The second one is how many accounts were opened at each branch broken down by account type. This is what we have already done. This was this. How many accounts were opened at each branch broken down by account type? Because if a new customer is there, so it means that account is open in that case. So accounts are opened at each branch broken down by account type. So in total we have 245 accounts which are open, and these are broken down by account type, which is CD, checking, IRA, saving, like that. Now let's see the next question. What type of accounts do tellers open most often? What type of accounts? So if you just think about this question, what type of accounts? So it means we need type of accounts field. Do tellers, it means I need a filter for the tellers and the other one, and then open open most often. So we are talking about that count over here, not sum. So how many accounts do tellers open most often? So let me create a pivot table. I'll go to insert and then pivot table, and new sheet works fine for me. How many accounts do tellers open most often? So tellers is what? Opened by. So I'll pick up open by and put it into report filter, and I'll choose teller. Teller open most often. So account type I need, and I'll put it, let's say, in row label. And now I want the count of account. Okay, so in that case, just have a look at it. This is also very important. If I put amount in values, it will give me a sum always. And then I have to right click on it and summarize values by count. This is one way to do it. But there is one shortcut. Shortcut is what? Is nothing a shortcut, but if I put a field which contains numbers into values, it will do a sum by default. Else I can also put any field that contains a text. For example, branch, customer, date, anything. If that contains text and if I put it into values, it will by default show me count like this. So this is what you can also do. Okay, so in values I have put in branch, so it will showing me the count by default, which is 99 is the answer, checking. So this is the answer for that question. How does the central branch compare to the other two branches? Now here we need the comparison in terms of grouping. So for example, I'll go to, or maybe let's do the last question first and then we'll do it. In which branch do tellers open most checking account for new customer? It's a bit lengthy but very easy question. In which branch, so I want branch, do tellers open most checking account for new customer. So these fields I require. So I'll create a new pivot table. Okay, like this. And let me copy it and paste it over here just to remind it. Okay, how many, in which branch do tellers open most checking account for new customers? This was the question. So first I need branch, which is very clear to all of us. So I'll pick it up, branch, and put it, let's say, in row label. There we go. Do tellers open? So that is, tellers is what? Opened by. So again I want it only for tellers, so I'll pick the tellers part, I mean the opened by, and drop it into report filter, and I'll choose, correct, I'll choose teller. And then checking account, which is basically an account type, so I'll pick up the account type and drag and drop it into, again, report filter, because I want to choose only checking account. We have also done. And then for only new customers, so I'll pick up the customer and put it into report filter again, because again I need to filter it with new, not existing, only new. And I want the count, in which branch do tellers open most checking account for new customers. So most checking account, we want the count. So now I can also pick up the same field which I've already used, doesn't matter. I can pick it up. I can use one field more than once also and put it in values, because I want count. So that is why I'm choosing any text field over here. So there we go. So 23 is the answer for that. Okay. Now, the fourth question, which I have left because that is for the grouping part. How does the central branch compare to the other two branches? Parameter is not given in this case on the which basis, but that we can use whatever we want. So let's see. In this case, I'll again insert a new pivot table. I'll click inside the data. I'll go to the insert tab and click on pivot table, and I'll press OK. So here we do have this field list, and here we want, for example, um, comparison we require in this case. So what I'll do, I'll just a second, yeah, one second. I Yes, I need a comparison in this case. I'm sorry, I got something uh, in between. So I want a comparison. So comparison is what in different branches. So I'll pick up branch, and I'll put it into column label like this, and I'm putting one more parameter which is not required, but just to create a table in a good manner. I'm, let's say, picking up the account type which is over here, and then I'm putting values in terms of, let's say, I'll put count like this. Okay, so I want to compare. Now comparison is not here still. I want central branch to be compared with other two branches. So I need to club these two branches, West North County and West Side. So in this case, I need to select the heading like this. Okay, and I'll right click on this and I'll click on group. So now you can see a group has been created and its name is group 1. So now I'll change the name from the formula bar. I click inside the formula bar and then change it to other branches. Okay, so now I'll just click on this minus sign and this will get be contracted. Just have a look like this. So now this is central branch and these are other branches. I'll also share the recording of this, so no need to worry about it if you'll forget anything or you haven't noted down or anything. I'll just share the recording of this webinar. So central branch and other branches also. Now if we'll click inside this, I mean, but this is how the comparison is. There in total still the central branch is much stronger than the comparison in other two branches. Just to have a good view of this comparison, what we can do, we can create a pivot chart also. Now this is new thing, pivot chart. See, we can create a chart from here also. It's not like that. If it is a pivot table, it's not like that. We cannot create it. Yes, we can create from this charts group, but it's better to go with this pivot chart. Reason I'll show you in this itself. When I click on this pivot chart, here we go. We do have the same list of charts, and I'll go with, for example, let's say this one, 3D clustered. Okay, why I was telling you that to choose pivot chart, because here you can see one thing, we do have these kind of filters. We do have these kind of filters, which is, if you just click on this, you can see you can choose a filter right from here. Isn't that beautiful? For example, if I want to see only for, let's say, checking account, so I'll press OK. There we go. We do have a data only for checking account. So this is what we can do from here itself. Okay, so now you can clearly see the central is blue one and the red one is other branches. So this is the comparison. Even one thing which uh, I'm not going to discuss in this webinar, which is basically a very good option in pivot table, that is slicers. That is to filter it, because why I'm not going to explain it in this webinar, because we do not have much time left with that, because I also need to answer your questions, and that's a very beautiful option. I'll do another webinar on that itself. That is a very good option, but that is available from 2010 onwards. Those who are using 7, they do not have it. So I would request them, if you have your system at home, that's your personal system, you should upgrade it to 13 or something. And I also want you to update on MS Excel versions. We are going to have 2016 also now. Okay, a preview version is already out. I'll also going to do a webinar on that, but a bit on a later side, not right now, because that's a preview version and do not have everything in it. In 2016, they'll launch a full-fledged program. Okay, so but before that, I'll do it. I'll explain you a few things. That is going to be very interesting program. So we'll do it. I'm just working on that. Um, so we'll definitely do it. So this is about the pivot table, and I hope you guys got something out of it. And I do have two tabs also. This is basically an exercise files for you, which is A and B. You can use it, you can perform the, you can create the pivot table, and if you face any problem with that, you can directly email me and I'll help you out on that. Definitely no issues with that. And as I already discussed, next week, the whole week I'm going to be a bit busy because my whole week is booked already. um, this training is going to be with the M2K group. Hope you already know that that cinema group, and they are into real estate also. So I do have a whole week of training in that. Okay, so this is about, if you have any question, you can ask me. Um, I'll definitely answer those. So let me read few question. Okay, Kapil and Kamal was a bit, okay. It was about the video and audio, so they got it. Okay, that's fine. And then uh, Shishpal said that we look up with macros. I'll definitely do it. A lot of people are telling me to do a webinar on macros. I'll definitely do it. But somehow what I'm trying to do is that a lot of people who are uh, you know religiously following my webinar, so I pretty much concerned for those people, and that is why I'm what I'm trying to do is that I'm trying to starting with few those things which are very regular in use. Okay, I would really want them to use it first. Okay, and then we gradually move to the much complex functions and formulas. It's not like that. We are going to do it, and I would love to share the knowledge of macros with you, definitely, but it will take a bit of time, so just be with me. In the meanwhile, I want them to be perfect in the things which we are doing right now. Macros is something which uh, that would be in a later stage, so we are going to do it, and I can assure you, when I'll do it, you will definitely will understand each every bit of that, so that I can promise you, but I'll definitely do it. Okay, one question from lot of questions are coming. One question is from Arun, who says that if we change the data, pivot table doesn't automatically update. We need to update it explicitly. Is there is any option of live update? I'm sorry, Arun, we do not have any updation, any live updation, because the point is that they have already given us a refresh option. I hope you already know. That is why you are saying that we need to do it. So there is no option for that. Sorry, Arun. This is the option which is under this options tab. We do have a refresh button. So if we change this data, for example, this data, and our pivot tables are based on this data. If we change this data, this tables will not get changed until unless we click on this refresh, and there is no automatic automation of this. Okay, and Maninder said that the webinar is a good idea. Thank you, Maninder. Thanks a lot. And okay, Himani says that if possible, could you please share some template on same so I can see and apply in case I forget something. Template, it means what? I mean, I have already created these two tabs for you that you can practice. So this is what it is. If you want, I can share few more things with you. I mean, few more exercises with you that I can definitely share with you. So definitely. Okay. Acha, Arun again asked that can we use data of multiple sheets for one pivot table? Yes, Arun, we can do it. But there is one very important thing, that we cannot do it using a normal pivot table. We can do it using Power Pivot. That's a new tool which has been introduced in 2013. that can be used. And even those people who are using 2010, which is this version, so for those we can also use it, but we have to install the add-in which is available on the internet, on the Microsoft website itself. You need to install it. Okay, I'll also do a webinar on Power Pivot. I'm also working on that. That's a new tool, not very new, but I'll definitely do a webinar on that. Okay, so Hariom Gupta, if we sorry, I'm not getting that question. Then it will change all the pivot. Yes, completely. Yeah. If Hariom is asking that if we press refresh, will it update all the pivot tables related to that data? Yes, it will update every pivot table related to that data. Pivot table, if we use something like VLOOKUP, not getting that. Kamal, I'm not getting that question. The pivot table, if we use something like VLOOKUP. Himani is asking that if we have data in two different tabs of single sheet. No, no. Single workbook, you can say that if we have data in two different worksheets of a single workbook, and I want to apply this pivot table, no, you cannot do. That's what I was talking about, that it means that you have two different sets of data, and that can be done using Power Pivot, not a normal pivot table. Okay. Kamal said that if we use the function, it takes big formula, or we have to paste special, then only we can do it. Can we link the data in another file? Dashboard designing, does pivot counts at dashboard? Um, Pivot table could be a part of a dashboard, you can say, but solely it is not. I'm not agree with that statement. Pivot table is just a part of it. It is not. You can use as a part. I'm getting my point, Kapil. You can use it as a part, but not. It's not a dashboard. Dashboard is something else. Dashboard uh, is much a more improved one as compared to this pivot table. You have to use few more things like data validation, index match, a lot of things we need to use. And in charts also we have to use different uh, types of charts in that to create a dashboard. So that is something else, and everyone has a different definition of a dashboard. Whatever satisfy the needs of a person, that you can say dashboard, that's one thing, but still, that is something else. Okay, so Arjun said that using functions on data exported from other software causes errors, doesn't give results. How to overcome these errors? Now, Arjun, see, there are a lot of things. If you import data from a different software into Excel, a lot of things. What I mean to say is that when you import data, you sometimes you have dates, okay, and dates, when you do it, these are converted into text. It would not remain a date. So you have to first clean it. You have to use uh, text to column functions. Lot of things: trim, clean, clear. Lot of things you need to use it. Okay, so the question is very open-ended question you have asked me. If you have any data in which you are struggling, you can share that with me. I'll definitely help you out. You can share that over the email. I'll help you out on that. No issues with that. But this is very broad thing that you have asked me. There is no specific answer to it. Depends on the data you have. Accordingly, we can work it out. And the questions you are asking me, what I can sense it out that you are using Excel in a very good manner. I mean, you are already using Excel a lot. So if you have any, if you want to enhance your knowledge, see, if you talk about these webinar, these are, I'll definitely be there for to help you out every time. Okay, but this is a kind of a slow process because we do have 1 hour every Sunday. So if you want to gain much more knowledge, you have to be with me for a long time. It will take a lot of time. So that is why I have an option which is very cheap, which I have already shared that with you, that I have created my own DVD tutorials. Okay, so in that case, that can be courier to you, and that costs just 1500 rupees, nothing more. That's very nominal price which I have put it in. And every questions you have, everything in Excel which you use a lot, okay, that is there in depth actually. And I also provide 30 days of money back guarantee because I am sure about my product and I am selling this for past 3 years now. And not a single time my DVD has been, returned or something, because I know that it worths a lot. But for India, I'm selling it for that. Even I'll show you one more thing, which I've already shown you, if I'm not wrong. This is my Academy's website, and just to help you out, guys, I have this DVD tutorial which I have told you earlier, as well as I do have these online courses. This the DVD which I'm telling you for 1500, I'm selling it online. That is for $59. This is the same course I'm selling it online. And you won't believe, in total I do have these 5 courses online, and I do have more than 8,000 people who are there online with me already enrolled for these courses, and majorly are from uh, foreign countries, which are US and UK majorly. Because in India, people are not very well versed with the online things. They always prefer to have a training face to face, which I think is not a future, because you can see that right now I'm sitting and I'm catering hundreds of people right now, which is something, is a big thing which I cannot do it in my academy. So that is why I have stopped doing that. Earlier I used to provide training in my academy face to face for 20-25 people every Sunday. In total I used to provide up to 50 people in a day, on every Sunday for 2 batches. So right now I'm sitting it over here catering to a larger audience with the comfort of at home. So that is why I've created a DVD that you can buy, and you'll also get my number, my email ID, my blog access, everything. If you have any question regarding that, you try to apply it. If you have any question, you can just straight away come to me. You can ask me that. There is no issue. This is the DVD page, and you can see the course content over here if you want. The website is nurturetechacademy.in, and I do have other DVDs also: VBA, Word, PowerPoint, Access, SharePoint, Outlook. So these DVDs are also there. So if you want, you can just look at it, the content, and if you want to have a look at the sample videos, these are also there, which is under free stuff. Then you click on this free stuff, you can have these over here. So few videos, Excel, advanced Excel videos are there, sample videos, and then we do have VBA sample videos also. If anybody interested in the coding part to develop automated programs in Excel, they can also go with these. So I would really recommend it for you. And also, if you want to do online courses, again, online courses mean like this, but you can also talk to me in that case. So I do have this online training part that you can join, and this is going to be through this webinar option. But in that case, as I have muted you right now, you'll not get muted in future. You can talk to me, you can ask me directly when I am explaining you that. And that I take the class after this session, which is 12:30 to 4:30 every Sunday, so that you can also join. And with that, you'll get a kit also, the recorded videos of everything which we are going to discuss, and everything that will be courier to you in the form of a hard copy. And after course completion certificate will also be there. So these means are there through which I can help you out. So apart from that, the next webinar, I'll definitely share the next mail with you. And a great thank you to all of you for joining me on this beautiful day. I know that a lot of people already have a plan, as I do have. So I'm going to do that. I'll have a plan to go to a movie. So, but not, I mean, after the session. Thank you. Thanks a lot for writing these beautiful comments. Thank you. This is the only, motivation for me. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Arun, Imani, Kamal, Hariom. Thank you. Thanks a lot. Kapil, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Maninder, thank you. Okay, have a great day, guys. Thank you for joining. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, bye. Bye. Thank you, Kapil.